G'day guys, welcome back again to video 92. So I got some steel, some 1/2-inch steel rod this morning. So get that hopefully in there and make a bracket up. I want to what I want to do today is, apart from getting these brackets sorted out to hold those pieces on, to hold those clamps on, I want to lay out on the hunk of steel. Unfortunately, I would really love to have a set of scales so I could weigh what the difference was between that lump there, because I wouldn't say it's about half, but it's close to half, and then weigh all the bits when I've cut them all out. But I don't have access to a set of scales, unfortunately. It's a bit of a pain. It would be nice to see what the weight difference was, how much I cut out of it. So yeah, I want to try and get all those other pieces laid out on that hunk of steel, and I want to draw all the holes and hopefully get them all rough cut today, and then I can go into perfecting later on, and grinding out and lots of stuff. I just want to get them rough cut out today, so they're actually out of the steel and I can work on each piece. So yeah, I've got some 1/2-inch rod, hopefully enough to cut that in half, just by the length that's got to go back through that wood and the bracket. That'll give me a piece to stick out. I want to maybe put a little gusset on it and like do quite a solid weld in there. So it's got sort of have a steel bracket. Sorry, we have a steel bracket that goes sort of like this around their body. So I want to try and pick up and capture quite a bit of this rod sticking out, and maybe put a couple of little gussets in it so it gives it a bit of guts. Maybe even do a couple of little gussets the other way, a couple of little triangles or something like that. Not terribly long, but just enough to give it a bit more stiffness. You get them welded in. Well, the bracket's made, and yeah, this welded onto the bracket and then screwed on there. And obviously have that poking out so we can get a proper clamp up and test that, see if that works, see if I need to modify or alter or whatever, just in case. Yeah, and get all that stuff rough cut out today. That's pretty much what I want to get done today if I can. Get it all rough cut out. What else was I going to say? Oh, when I got the rod, I grabbed another pile of cutting discs, another couple of flappy wheels. I think I've got one more flappy wheel over there on the wall. Might have another couple. I've got another couple of grinding discs, I think. I think I should have enough stuff here to get it done anyway. I think. It's fairly hard on cutting discs doing that. I think drilling the holes is faster, but I think it's also hard on cutting discs. If you're trying to go across the holes, it tends to wear the edges off quite quick. But it's faster at cutting through within reason. It's 1.5 dozen the other. It's a real bitch to cut through that solid plate where it's not so difficult to cut through the drill through, and if I can't get right through in some spots, I can eventually break it off. Whereas the solid stuff, because it's not very easy to get right through in places, it makes it very awkward. I think if you didn't drill the holes, in some places you would never get it off, or you'd spend a lot of time trying to get it off. So yeah, it's 1.5 dozen the other. Anyway, is there anything else I want to say? Just trying to think. Oh yeah, I suppose I may as well do the old. Yeah, if you are new and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, please, because it doesn't cost you anything, and it would help me get towards that 1,000 subs, so I can hopefully make some money from YouTube itself to put back into this stuff, which would be really awesome, just to help support me. Yeah, and please, if you are a regular or a non-regular and you come along and you've just subscribed, please hit that thumbs up on the top of the thing and all that sort of stuff, because that helps just push that fucking stupid algorithm, and keeps my videos getting pushed up to the top. So I've noticed It's probably part because the world's sort of, I wouldn't say semi-normal, but it's sort of more normal than it was when we had that big lockdown. Because I was getting quite big views where I'm sort of just down, even though I've got like 800 and something subscribers, I'm sort of only getting about 30, mid-30s, late 40s, might be into the 50s views on most of my videos. So yeah, if you can give a thumbs up. If you don't normally give a comment, in the comments just say, yeah, cool video, and give us a thumbs up or something like that, just to help, because all those comments and thumbs up, then I'll come along, give you a thumbs up on your comment and a heart and whatever, and that just helps push it into the mainstream, and that will help, again, get me subscribers and all that sort of stuff. So that'd be really awesome if you can do all those sorts of things. And hit the bell and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Right, thanks. I'll get into doing some work. Right. The first thing I'm going to do today is see if this rod's going to work. Should. There's no reason why it shouldn't, but I just want to see what we've got that's going to do the job. I probably won't make up maybe a bracket and whatever, but I think I'll probably make the bracket come around here as much as I possibly can to pick up. Obviously get as much strength as possible, because when that top is down, it will be putting quite a bit of load on here. Could possibly, just thinking about it, I've got a bolt down here, so I could possibly bring it around and maybe, I don't know, bring it a piece down to here, just because when the hood is down and the canvas on it, that's a lot of strain on that one point. It's quite heavy. I don't know, I'd hate to see this get flexed and broken from weight, you know, jiggling, like, not that it's going to be going fast, but you know, down the road, jiggling down the road, and it's a nice hot day or something like that, and I've done a few miles and the top's been down. I'd hate to see something break or crack through here. I just wonder if maybe if I tied something down in here and then possibly bring a pickup point down to here or something like that. I don't know. Even if it was with a bit of rod or something, possibly. I'll think about it. Something we can, you know, look into, or I'm just always thinking about, you know, that day that the top is going to be down. If it was a really, really beautiful day, you know, and they're out cruising around and the top's down, and I've got it down all day and they're doing a few miles. Let's take something to flex and break. You always got to think of that what if moment, you know. Is what I'm making going to fail? And why is it going to fail? It's sometimes the things you got to think about when you're making something, you know. Okay, sure, it might look strong and be strong, but you got to think of, okay, yeah, it's strong, but when you're cruising down the road, especially if you're building something that's got a bit of grunt, or horsepower, you know, when you're travelling down the road at 100 miles an hour, all of a sudden, even though something's static in a vehicle, if it's taking a load or a weight off something, if it's just sitting there, it's just taking the normal static weight. But when you're cruising down the road at 100 miles an hour, all of a sudden all those pressures change. You know, and is it now going to be strong enough? You know? And you put wind pressure and load and just general, you know, road vibration and all those sorts of things on something. So yeah, I've got to do a little bit of tweaking here with this. It's too, the bracket's too stiff. So I need to take some thickness out of this so this will squeeze up properly, and I'm going to probably maybe need to thick cutting disc through there, so that clamps that tight. So I might have to investigate that first. I'll fix this, see if we can get this to clamp up. It's just, it's too loose now. I can't get enough pressure on it, you know what I mean? So that needs to be addressed first. Come back to you in a minute. This time hopefully, so I've ground it back a shitload now. I might have to shift this clamp hole maybe in a little bit now, because originally I had it quite thick. Yeah, I think maybe this might be a little bit far away, but I've actually squeezed it in the vise and I've actually run the grinder through there again. So this is a little bit tighter straight up, and because I've opened this hole up quite a bit, I've actually run the grinder in and out of there a few times and sort of shaved a bit off the edges. So hopefully now it should clamp up. It's only about half the thickness of what it was after I shaved it down initially. So I just hope, you know, you sort of get to the point where you think, gee, is it too thin? Is it now going to break off? So now I'm actually struggling to get that on there, so that's a kind of a good sign, I guess. Let's do that. Open it a little bit. Right, so that is, I think we should have success this time, I think. Surely. Surely. Hold it right way up. I'm going to have some success this time. Moving the rod now, not, you know, and it's on this pair of vice grips, multi grips, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, cool. So that is going to work. I just, now I don't actually like get the bolt so far away from it because it looks funny and it's skinny. But it's funny actually, you look through the photos and it actually looks similar to this, but the bolt's probably just not quite so far away. So I might have to remedy that somehow. Might have to drill another hole a bit closer if I can. We'll see. It's either I just make it again, maybe, but because I sort of had it fairly just roughed out heavy, I started thinking that I'd grind it down a bit, but yeah, when you grind it down, actually the bolt hole's quite a long way away from the pinch point, if you know what I mean. So yeah, may have to alter that or possibly remake this clamp, which is a bit of a pain. But we'll see. I'll go and have a look at the photos and just see if I think it's going to look alright from what it originally was. It probably should have, it should have been probably half that across, or sort of 3/4 that across in there. But when you're sort of looking at a big like that, you sort of think, oh yeah, it looks alright, but then you realise that there's a lot of material in there and you can't squeeze it in. So that's alright. You live and learn. It's all part of doing this sort of stuff. Anyway, I think I'll map all this other shit out and we'll get it cut out. So yeah, I'll come back to you when I've probably near the end of the day when I've got most of it rough cut out, I think. Because I don't think there's any point in you seeing it all again. I'll just do a quick show you when I've got it to that point. There's only one good thing about doing this. I've already done this once. Now that I've laid out the marks, I just thought I'd just do a quick little thing, because I've already got them down to roughly to the shape I want, with a little bit of clean up, you know, probably still to come, but because I can run around with that, with the marker, when I drill these holes, they're a lot closer than what those ones were, so there's a lot less material to come off. When I do clean it up, it's going to be a heap faster. There's still going to be parts that are going to be slow, but it's heaps faster because I don't have to grind a lot of that excess off that I started off with the first one, because, you know, it would have been way out here originally, and it came out here, and so like I don't have to worry about all that material. It's already gone. So, you know, I can get things a lot closer. Basically, when I'm drilling, what I'm trying to do is, because basically I want the piece that's just inside the black line. So basically, if I'm drilling a hole and I'm touching the black line but leaving a little bit of the edge, that's just giving me a little bit to clean up, you know. So that's pretty cool. So that's basically what I'm doing. Anyway, I'll see it when I've got all these drilled and cut out. Righty, so I've managed to get to here. It's about a bit after 3 o'clock. Mind you, I did have a slightly longer lunch break than normal. I've drilled a couple of bigger holes. There's actually a couple from the other side too. Just to try and help me get around corners and bits and pieces. But first thing I was going to do is I'm going to cut down here, get that piece off. I'm going to probably cut down here and try and see if I can get that off, and then get that off, and then come back and attack the rest of that. But that's probably just the easiest path to come down to try and separate, so you can get in around other bits. So yeah, here we go. Right, this is where I'm kind of at the moment. So I've got this one semi cut out. Obviously got to cut the top and bottom, but I've drilled the holes for these points. This one here is rough cut out. When I clean it up a bit more, I'll clamp it in the vise and I'll drill that hole once I mark a few things out. This one here, at this point I just cut it off. I haven't cut around here yet or anything. So that's sort of next. I'll start doing that shortly. I might cut down through here and see if I can get some of this off, but it's getting later in the day. It's about, I don't know, 4:30 or something like that. So yeah, I'll cut a bit more longer, see if I can get this one, some of it out anyway, because this is a real bitch to get around. I'll probably have to hacksaw a lot of it. I can get what I can get, but yeah, it's not easy getting in here. I better get down here, and then I'll kind of better nick the edges just to make it a bit skinnier, but I'll have to probably cut a lot of it because it's just the cutting discs are too big. But it is what it is. I might even have to cut in, you know, to try and clear some of it away. But yeah, we'll get this one cut away, and then yeah, hopefully in the next, well, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, you know, we should have these cleaned up. Well, at least to the point where the other ones are anyway. Well, it's taken most of the day to get to this far. Roughed out. I'm still trying to cut the inside away from this, but it's a bitch. It's a bloody near hacksaw job around here. You can sort of get what you can with the old death wheel, splitting disc, whatever you want to call it. But you can only get so far in because you've only got so much space. The rest of it you got to cut by hand, and then come back in here and cut this off again and break it out, just like I did with that bit. Get it close and then beat it out with a hammer. Righty. How you going, guys? So welcome back. So this is part way through this video. So I'll carry on with this. I won't waffle on too much, and yeah, we'll carry on. Anything else I want to say this morning? No, not really. I think I'll just get into this and get these cut out, and I'll come back to you a little bit later on when I've made some progress and just give you a couple of quick updates as I'm going. Well, we might have a problem. If you have a look on this side, this is the side that I marked and I was drilling down on. Now I don't know why it's done this, but it has. For some reason, this bit of steel when I was drilling the holes must have. I try to keep that piece clear underneath, but when I've drilled it on the other side, because we just laid this over top and started drawing around it, and it's really bad. Like the hole in here is for some reason it's freaking miles off. So it's obviously when I drilled that hole, because I drilled that hole and that hole as I was doing all these, you know, when I had marked everything out, because I laid them over top. I even clamped them down, but I don't know, it's obviously kicked in a funny angle or something like that, and it's drilled it off square. So that's a pain, but fortunately I've just got enough steel left to cut that one out. If I ever screw up on anything else, I think I'm screwed. But yeah, hopefully everything else will work. This one here, I've got rough cut out, pretty good. I haven't started on this one, but it should be fine. Yeah, it's just this one here, unfortunately, when I drilled that hole through there, because I was thinking, I've got this sort of to here, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm sort of far enough through that now, you know, without going crazy. I'll start cutting the excess off this and cleaning it up, and then I thought, oh yeah, I'll drill that, you know, drill these holes through there and start grinding it out. And I was like, turned it over, I had a decent look at it, and I was like, why is that hole so far out for? That ain't going to work. Like, I could re-drill it, like I could weld it up and re-drill it, but as soon as I start welding this up, and it's going to be as hard as piss, and then I'll have to heat treat it. So it's probably just as easy just to sit on here and do it again. Because yeah, I've got a piece left, and you know, it'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It just, for some reason, like that hole there down the bottom seems to be, you know, and not too bad, but man, this one here is just freaking miles away. You know, like this is all right. It's probably a little bit close here when I ground it off, but for some reason it's just really close to that edge there. Don't ask me why. I'd possibly get away with it, but it's just doesn't want to line up. It really should when I put that on top of there. To get it to line up, it's like so much of that missed. Not that it would really matter, but I'd like it to be right. That hole does line up. I don't know, weird. Because really I had it sitting as flat as I possibly could, trying to drill down through there to get nice, as close as I could parallel lines, but I suppose probably if I'd made it separately, yeah, it probably would have been alright, but that's life. It's not a great loss, it's quite a bit of time drilling that out. Like, it took me, I don't know, about 3 hours to drill around all these pieces and then start cutting them out. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but at least it's probably one of the simpler ones to cut off. This bit's a bit of a prick, but on here, fortunately, on here, I'll have, like, I'm not having to worry about trying to cut around anything else because it's already been cut off, so I can just come in here and cut it off. I'm not having to worry about going around corners too much. Yeah. Some of it I won't even have to drill round. I might just drill down here and just partly down here so I can just get it off a bit easier. So that I'll just cut it out, but yeah. Anyway, you live and learn. So I've made another one. I drilled a few holes to try and get the awkward spots, and I thought, I'll just use the cutter. I had a couple of brand new cutting discs left, and I had a few smaller bits, you know, sort of about that size or a little bit smaller. So I used what I could to get it started, and that's all I got left of this 2 cutting discs. So I'm going to have to go get some now. What a pain in the bum. Righty, another stack of cutting discs and a couple of grinding discs. I'll see if we can get this piece cut out today, and then hopefully get on the live with Heidi and Arco about 1 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock their time. I think we're going to try and do that again today. So I'll get cutting and we'll see you on the live, but after, maybe, on this video. I don't think I'll get it up before the live. I'll try. Thought I'd better give you a quick wee update. So I managed to get this cut out. I had a real bitch fight with it. But I'm at the point now where I'm sort of starting to hollow it out. I want to grind all the excess off. And the excess off down here and get that out. I've started cutting the slot in here to be like that, basically. You can see where I've sprayed a bit of paint. I've had the two together and sprayed a bit of paint around there. It was sort of working, but it wasn't working, so I put the black marker back over top of the pink, and actually helps show it up a bit better, make it easier to cut off. But I can actually put a punch and this through those holes together and actually hold the things two together. So when I get this really close, I'm actually going to lock the two together with these two again, because I've actually got to use a pin punch to push them out to get, and I'm actually going to grind the two together so they're actually nice and uniform. Probably won't be able to do that with that, but I better get them close, if you know what I mean. But well, yeah, I'll keep going and we'll come back to you later on when we're getting closer to being done. Did a little upgrade to the shop. I bought some JMO speakers a wee while ago, like some surround ones, and a subwoofer. And this actually came with it. That's actually like a DVD player surround sound amplifier. I didn't really have any use for it. It's from like 2009 or something like that. But I thought, sweet, it's perfect. I had a couple of, I think they're old Pioneer or speakers that must have been, or something that come on the side of a TV at some point, that we just picked up for basically nothing. So yeah, I've just plugged them into that, so I've got some music here, because you can hook a radio up to it and all that sort of stuff. I have a radio going and whatever. Unfortunately the remote doesn't work, but it doesn't matter. I only paid $30 for the whole lot for the JMO surrounds, because my big speakers at home, the big floor stands, which I bought back in, I don't know, probably 2006 or 7 or something like that. It might have been a wee bit earlier than that. They were the same brand, and these must have come along a little bit later. So yeah, I just grabbed them because they fitted and complemented my other ones quite nicely. So yeah, I'm just using it for a radio around here. I'll just turn it back on because I turned it off the video. Well, if it ain't one thing or another, yeah, grinder. It's the only corded one I've got here apart from the big bugger. So I think I've got a set of brushes here for it, but I'm not sure if they're for this or not. Have a look. Obviously I've unplugged it from the power. But yeah, she started almost sounded like flapping paper. I was like, what the hell's that noise? And I was like, oh, keep going. I was like, right, yeah, I know what that noise is. But I'm just not sure if these brushes are for this or not. I had them in one of my little plastic drawers. Well, it must have come with something, but I'm just not sure if it's for this grinder or if it's for something else. But we'll find out. Because if it's a set of brushes for this, well, I'll just throw them in, keep going, save me buying another grinder. Believe it or not, I think that's probably one of the only times I've ever done that. Because most of them are fucking just died. Boy, they didn't have spare parts. Needs me scrape. Yeah. Plug it back in and see if it works. See if it doesn't make funny noises. If it's dead, well, we'll just get another one. As soon as I put the load on it, it'll sound like it's flapping paper, if you know what I mean. That kind of noise. But shit, is it good? Yeah. Okay, it works. We'll carry on. Maybe. I better check the time, see what time it is. Yeah, I'll try and keep giving it for another hour. And we'll better do this live. Well, they're pretty much the same. Because I put the pins through them and ground them together. It's took a little bit of work to do on it, but my grinder, I put the brushes in it, but it was fine for a start off, but it's still playing up. It's not 100%, so I'm going to go buy another one and just keep that as a spare. It works, but it depends on obviously those brushes, because they're not quite the right thing. They're dragging and not coming out properly. So depending on how you turn it, it works, or it is working, but it's poling out. It's not catching, getting 100%. So I'll just keep it as a spare. So I'll go see if I can buy another one. And unfortunately, because we're in this level freaking whatever, I don't know if I can go into the shop or not. So it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, we'll go see what we got. Well, welcome to Sunday. So I'm here. I still haven't bought another grinder, but I've managed to get this working properly. I figured out that the brushes were sticking because they weren't exactly the right thing. So I just pulled the whole thing out, pulled the guts out of the motor basically. Sat there and I cleaned everything up, and I just keep pushing those brushes in and out until they flicked out of there nice and free. Because I think what was doing was they were pushing out and they were sort of getting jammed back in sort of sideways because they weren't exactly the right width. They were getting jammed, so when I pulled it all apart, I just keep pushing them in, backwards and forwards, and eventually they just didn't matter how you pushed them, they popped back out. So that sort of helped that problem. I cleaned the, I think it's the stator, is that point that the brushes run on. I think that's what it's called. I'm trying to remember. So I gave that a bit of a polish up with some 320 or whatever it was that I've got over there. Just gave it a bit of a light clean up. Gave everything else a good clean down. I think I gave it all. I gave the gave it a quick blow down with some brake clean just to get rid of the crap, and then blew it off the ear. But anyway, so I've got that sorted. I'll just turn the camera around. Hold on. So I'm at this point with this one. I'm about to cut the centre out of this. Oh no, sorry, not the centre, the sides out of this, like that one. So I've had the two locked together with a pin sitting in the vise, and I've just been going along, grinding them down. I'm trying to get these as identical as I possibly can. And that's what I did with that one. Basically, I put the two pins in that with that one and just ground it down so it was almost exactly the same. I've still got finishing work, but I just want to try to get them to the point where these other ones are at. And then we'll go through and we'll really dial them in and clean them up and sort of polish them up. I'll try and get some fine. Hopefully we go down to level 2 shortly, where we can actually go into a hardware shop or a store, and I can look for a couple of things, because I would like to get some, like I said, those little drum, like a little drum sander or something like that, so I can actually get in there and really get it smooth, get it really cleaned up and smooth, so to get it past this, even past the flappy wheel sort of sanded stage. I want to get it really sort of polished up, but I need something. I'm not going to sit there and try and sand it by hand, because it's just going to be too slow. I can use a DA for some of it to get it to a certain point, but like it's going to be, you can't get in here. So like one of those little rotary sort of flappy drum sanders or something like that with a nice fine grit on it will be quite good. Then I can get to it to a certain point, and then I probably can go by hand to get it to a sort of polished up stage, and get one of those rag roller polishes, like on a grinder or something like that, or a DA, and get them really sort of fine tuned up to the point at least where we can hopefully nickel plate them. So that's what they would have been. So yeah, that's what I'm at this stage. I still haven't attacked that one, that little lever piece yet, but I'll get that near the end, and when I've got that one close, then we'll dial the end of that one in as well. Because yeah, obviously I haven't still done any more with that, but that's where I'm at. I'll keep working, get this cut away, and then I'll start on that. Well, I've still got another thing to do. Like I've cut this off, but I haven't V'd these out yet, like that, and sort of really got it nicely shaped. But I've got it roughed in, if you know what I mean. So that's sort of where I'm at. And again, I forgot to freaking stop here and leave the hump there. So I was being a bit wild in there, to be right. That's what I did with the last one, so it'll match. Anyway, because it's very easy to get lost and just cutting this off and forget to stop, but that would make it actually awkward. So sort of kind of what you have to do. If you had a milling machine, you could come along here and go and then be done with it, but you better get into here too with a nice little bit. But I don't have that, so grinder and files and drill, that's about what I've got, so that's what I'm using. So yeah, we'll come back to you when we've done more. Yep, looks like it. I'm going to have to definitely go get a grinder. I think what's happening is so I've had it part a couple of times. I think the bearing in the front of the housing is going for the main shaft of the motor. And I think what that's doing is it's moving around a little bit, and then it's causing the back brushes to pole out, but now it's doing, let's see if I can show you, doing that. So it's, yeah, it's actually the what do you want to call it, the whole thing's vibrating inside it. So yeah, because I've cleaned the stator up a second time and tried to trim the brush up a little bit and put it back in it away. It went good again. So I did that this morning, and then yeah, just recently it sort of died, and then got it going good again. It's like, oh sweet, but yeah, now it's actually vibrating. So it was obviously slowly wearing that bush or something in there's slowly going. Yeah, and that's what was causing it to not the pickup or the brushes not to get good contact, and it would start poling. So obviously every time I cleaned it up, it would slowly get worse and worse and worse. So I think she's dead. Damn it. But anyway, yeah, I've got that far with these anyway. So both that stage, I've still got to do some final clean up in here, but I've ground all this out, got them fitting together. So unfortunately, I can't really carry on because I need a grinder, and I've only got that battery operated thing here, and it's okay, but like I'm only going to probably get another. I know with that battery one, you know, like half an hour of heavy grinding, and it's dead. Yeah, I don't know, like a cord tool will just keep going, whereas a battery operator, it will just good for small jobs, or if you want to take it somewhere and do something quickly. But I think if you're using them all the time, unless you got a heap of batteries, they're a good bit of pain. Like the drills seem to be good because it's not one of those things unless you're doing a heap of drilling. But again, like a good old cord drill sometimes is the best thing, as much as the cordless stuff is handy. They just, I think if you got a few batteries for them, or you got a few sets of tools that are the same and you got plenty of batteries, yeah, good. But if you're sort of, if you've only got one or two cordless things and you haven't got a heap of batteries, well, yeah, then they become a bit of a hassle. So it always pays to have a cord grinder, a cord drill, and lots of stuff. So if you do run out of battery, at least you've got that backup, or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go see if I can get one. I don't have any choice now. I'm stuck in the water, if you know what I mean. I can't use that big one. It's just too big. It's too awkward for doing this fine detail work. And I could use the battery one, but I think, you know, I'd be chasing my tail, fucking trying to charge batteries all the time. So yeah, I'll go see if I can find a new grinder. Yeah, and I'll have another play with it, see if I can get it to come right or something like that, and just have it as a backup if I need it. But yeah, catch you later on. Cheers.